bad for Bill Belichick, whose Patriots are 2-4. Cam Newton looked like MVP Cam for the first couple of weeks, and now, not so much. Do you know what's up with Cam? Because I'm trying to figure it out. So let me know. Let me know what you're thinking about right now when it comes to football. History will be made this week, or at least something like that. The Chiefs are hovering around 20.5-point favorites against the Jets. Betting odds aren't really an official stat, but that is a lot. You know, that'd be like, I guess, if I went up against Matt Richards in a stand-up contest, I'd probably be a 20.5-point joke underdog. And because of that, I will stay here in my sports bubble. Matt was funny, Jeff was, well, not, he kinda is funny. Hall of Trivia is coming up right now, after this break. Welcome everyone to the Hall of Trivia on HQ, our new football and fantasy sports themed trivia show sponsored by the Hall of Fantasy League and the Hall of Fame Resort and Entertainment Company. Thanks so much, guys. We appreciate that. My name is Jeff Eisenband and I'll be your host. Welcome back, Week 2 players, and welcome our new players putting on your Hall of Trivia uniform for the first time, New Jersey. We've got some awesome things going with this new show, including new trivia formats, new contests, and new prizes. There are multiple ways to win some cash, so listen up. It's now time for Hot Off the Press, HOT, Hall of Trivia. Last Sunday night, Kyler Murray and Russell Wilson led their teams in an instant classic, but it was Kyler getting the last laugh, quite literally. Check this out, right? Kyler drops back, he sees DeAndre Hopkins downfield and literally smiles, laughing, because he knows he's got single coverage on the outside and D-Hop ain't gonna miss that. These two are dangerous in the desert. Hope we got some Cardinal fans in there because you have a football team this year, I will tell you that much. It's time now for the Start Sit Fantasy Pick'em Pool portion, brought to you by the Hall of Fantasy League, the first community-backed national fantasy league staked and influenced by you, the public. Last week ended up being insane. We had Daniel Jones versus Carson Wentz, and 37% of you took Daniel Jones, and you thought you were headed to fantasy victory. And then, rumbling, stumbling, and tumbling was Danny Dimes, who cost you a rushing touchdown. The Giants scored, but you didn't get those Daniel Jones fantasy points. Meanwhile, Carson Wentz led 2 TD drives in the final 5 minutes for the Eagles to secure an 8-point fantasy win over Daniel Jones. So the 6,232 of you last week that chose Carson Wentz, you can chalk that up as a W. Congrats, you're getting your first win. This week it's Falcons versus Panthers, and we're going to give you 2 wide receivers, 2 young guns. Calvin Ridley right there, the Atlanta Falcons, and DJ Moore of the Panthers, all right? Let me remind you how it works with this. We'll give you 2 or more players, and all you have to do is pick the player you think will score more fantasy points that week, right? So it's Ridley versus Moore this time. If they do, that's a win. Get the most points by the end of the contest, and you and whoever is left will share a, yeah, that's right, you see it, $10,000 grand prize. So a lot of money on the line if you can accumulate those wins. We'll be using half PPR scoring format, which is important here because these are wide receivers. That means each player will get a half point per reception for each catch. Point per reception. All right, it's time to vote. Ready? We're going to do this on 2. Hut, hut. All right, there it is. Calvin Ridley, DJ Moore, you got 10 seconds. Who you got? Panthers, Falcons tonight. These guys both have been outstanding as of late. You know they will be headed downfield. Matt Ryan, Teddy Bridgewater, what are you going to do? We got 60% of you, a clean 60% taking Calvin Ridley, 40% taking DJ Moore. So 60% of you going with the guy from Atlanta. Probably been doing it a lot more all season, but Julio Jones could take some catches. We'll see. We'll stay tuned for that. But let's talk trivia now. I'm going to ask you 10 questions about the NFL and the past week in fantasy football. All questions are powered by our friends at Sport Radar. Thank you so much, guys. If you get all questions right, you and whoever is left will split the prize pot of $2,500. That is not too bad. A little Thursday night football trivia action. I'll take it. I got to be here, though. All right, the play clock is, I see it's running down, so we got to get this off. Let's get the show on the road. Take a deep breath, get in one last stretch, and let's go. Q1. In fantasy football, PPR leagues award extra points for what? Red zone carries, receptions, or returns? PPR leagues. If that rings a bell, I lob this up for you in the intro. Unless your league is crazy weird, PPR stands for point per reception. 17,057 of you were listening up, and you got that one right. Usually it's a half point like we're doing for our Start Sit Fantasy pool, or a full point. That's where guys like Christian McCaffrey and Austin Eckler shine. Or for the OGs, Darren Sproles. Q2. What unofficial holiday was celebrated by George Kittle this past Sunday? Sunday Fun Day, National Tight End Day, Jeff Saturday. George Kittle celebrated what? Well, unofficial in government terms, the NFL does recognize the second to last Sunday in October as National Tight End Day. The 49ers started the concept in 2018, and George Kittle, he's got the shirts, he's got the receipts to prove it. And we hope that some of you could prove your knowledge. 15,353 of you knew what was going on. National Tight End Day was actually trending last week. Jeff Saturday was not. Maybe 10 years ago. Q3. As time expired, who scored the touchdown that defeated the Falcons last week? Kenny Golladay, DeAndre Swift, or TJ Hawkinson? That TD that beat the Falcons. On National Tight End Day, it was a tie. It was a tight end with the most dramatic touchdown. Matthew Stafford connected with TJ Hawkinson to ultimately lead the Falcons to victory, tie the Falcons with 0 seconds left. This was the play.
He has time.
Stafford, you can't give him that much time. Falcons fans are hard. Just watching that. I feel for you, Atlanta fans. But the Lions, all right, like 11,605 of you getting that one right. The Lions then had an extra point. They won the game 23-22. Todd Gurley, he helped a lot of your fantasy teams by scoring a late touchdown, but he didn't help the Falcons with his butt falling in the end zone. Sorry, Atlanta. There's always next year. Like every year, there's always next year. Before jumping into Q4, it's time now for the Hall of Fantasy's Fresh Fit of the Week. And if you're afraid of horror movies, close your eyes, because there is Will Compton looking like Michael Myers from Halloween. Oh, man. Whew. That pumpkin spice latte, I don't think that makes it any less terrifying. I mean, if I see that in the tunnel, I'm yelling for help and probably leaving the stadium. Shout out to Will, though, of course, for wearing a mask. That segment was brought to you by the Hall of Fantasy League. You can find him at the HOF League on Twitter or at www.thehofl.com. If you're just tuning in, remember, we're doing some football trivia here, Hall of Trivia, and this is Q4. The NFL's trade deadline coincides with what day? Easter, Thanksgiving, Election Day. You gotta think about the calendar. Right? Think about that lesson in elementary school. If you're an NFL GM or a fantasy GM trying to give your team a spark, don't wait until you're eating turkey on Thanksgiving. Now is the time to do it. This year's NFL trade deadline lands on Tuesday, November 3rd. Election Day. That's Election Day, and 10,871 of you voted for the right answer. Did you go out and vote yet? Some of you should do. And you should definitely not wait until Easter to vote. Easter is not around football season time. Q5. What quarterback set a franchise record for consecutive completions last week? Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, or Baker Mayfield? Oh man, we got former MVPs. We got number 1 overall picks in there. When he started 0 for 5 a week after getting benched and lost Odell Beckham Jr. to injury, it seemed very bad. But then Baker Mayfield completed a Browns record, the Cleveland Browns, 21 straight passes. I mean, check out this dude at the end. That included a game-winning score to Donovan Peoples-Jones. The people have spoken, and the Browns beat the Bengals. 9,798 of you taking home victory on Q5 as Cleveland did. DPJ has got to step up for OBJ, and that catch definitely starts. We're halfway through the game, players, so let's take a quick break. Do what you need to do to get hydrated and rested. Now let's take a look at the halftime tweet and greet. I asked you on Twitter to describe a moment in your life you've gone full Atlanta Falcons and blown a comfortable lead. It happens all the time in Atlanta. There were some good answers for this, but my favorite came from Michael 7 Nelson. My favorite came because I'm a golfer. He said match play tournament up 4 with 4 to go, missed 4 par putts to have a hole and win the match. Instead lose 5 straight to a guy that shot 98 to my 82 only. That's a very Falcons-ish moment, Michael Nelson. If Matt Ryan was in your shoes, he might have done the same thing. Don't lose on this one, though, folks. If you got through those 5 questions, hold on to your lead. Q6. What team once employed Antonio Brown without ever getting him to play a regular season snap? Patriots, Raiders, Seahawks. Going East Coast, West Coast, too. It seems like a decade ago that Antonio Brown led the NFL in touchdown catches in 2018. That was just 2 seasons ago, his last full NFL season. And that was with the Steelers. Brown did play 1 game for the New England Patriots in 2019, but before that, he was an Oakland Raider and the star of Hard Knocks. 9,128 of you remember watching that special, that series, because Antonio Brown probably had more interviews in Hard Knocks than catches with the Raiders. John Gruden, I know you're one of the ones that got that right. Q7. What coach relinquished play calling duties this week? John Gruden, Adam Gase, Matt Nagy. Wow, John Gruden's just listening. Where is John? He might be in here right now somewhere. When you're 0-6, it's time for change. The Jets did that with Adam Gase passing on play calling duties to offensive coordinator Dowell Loggins. Dowell Loggins. 8,127 of you were paying attention to your New York Jets news this week. It actually didn't go that bad for the Jets. The Jets scored 1 touchdown, which was more than the Bills, but the Bills still won the game 18-10, and the Jets are still 0-7. So Adam Gase still needs to figure that out. Q8, figure this one out. Who is the only 100-meter Olympic gold medalist to make the Pro Football Hall of Fame as a player? Night Train Line, Bob Hayes, or Willie Gault? This one, we gave you some real names out here, some old school guys. Cowboys fans, it's Throwback Thursday, and we're giving you some good news. Bullet Bob Hayes is a Cowboys legend who preceded his football career by winning gold as an Olympic sprinter. 5,815 of you sprinted to get that one correct. I mean, this guy was basically Usain Bolt returning kicks, that 100 meters, right? Those of you out there know Marquise Goodwin was in the long jump in the 2012 Olympics. He's actually an NFL player right now, but didn't win gold, 100 meters. Q9. The quarterback who ended this week's game as the Cowboys starter played at what school? Eastern Illinois, TCU, or James Madison? Eastern Illinois, TCU, or James Madison? All right, Cowboys fans, I hope you enjoyed your one question of joy, and now we had to come back to reality with it. After Dak Prescott went down, Andy Dalton took over the starting role. He went to TCU, by the way. But a dirty hit took him out. Ben DiNucci became QB1. Big bad Benny DiNucci played at James Madison, all right? Ben DiNucci. Tony Romo played at Eastern Illinois, by the way. 6,029 of you are moving on with that. DiNucci, he was drafted in the 7th round. I mean, this guy's coming out of nowhere to lead the Dallas Cowboys. A lot of you came out of nowhere to get here to the end. It's time for the final question, the final drive, the 2-minute drill. This is it. It all comes down to this last round where you would either be crowned champion or you just won't. Like the Pittsburgh Steelers, you are the last undefeated people left. All right, take a deep breath because it's Q10. Who was fantasy's top QB when Phillip Rivers and Big Ben Roethlisberger were rookies? Peyton Manning, Mike Vick, or Dante Culpepper? We're going back 2004. I was an innocent 11-year-old. I'm sure a lot of you were loving football, getting into fantasy in the mid-2000s. 2004 was a long time ago. Eli Manning was also a rookie back then. Peyton Manning set the passing TD record with 49. But it was this legend who had the most fantasy points. He had a league-leading 4,717 passing yards, 39 touchdown passes, and over 400 rushing yards. A rushing attack helped him. That player was Dante Culpepper. Dante Culpepper giving you 1,923. You the win. Some of you were sacked. Taking Peyton and Mike Vick. Dante Culpepper nails it down. Randy Moss, he had Randy Moss to pass the ball to. They won some games. You just won some games. Just under 2,000. You 1,923. Taking some cheddar home. We got, I see, Sincog 21, $1.30. Take that. Chuck T 16. Barkski getting it done. We got Smitty U making something happen. Rick Brown, nice beard, buddy. Jack 3,180. Chalk up 1.30. Topo 1,500. Honor HQ 123. We must honor you because you are one of our 1,923 winners tonight on the second edition of Hall of Trivia. I gotta say, congrats again to all of our new Hall of Trivia winners, just like Aaron Rodgers on a broken play or Julio Jones on a 50-50 ball. Nothing could break your focus. Thanks so much for playing with us. I hope to see you all again soon. We play Hall of Trivia every Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, right before the Thursday night football game. So pay close attention to all that goes down in the football and fantasy week. For more news and information on the Hall of Trivia, follow us on social at the HOF League and at HQ Sports. As always, a special thanks to our sponsor, the Hall of Fantasy League and the Hall of Fame Resort and Entertainment Company. I've been your host, Jeff Eisenband, and until next time, have the best fantasy version of your week. Score some touchdowns and don't get vultured. I'll see you soon.